Microphone check 1 2. Hey, can you hear me loud and clear down there?
I
Over
can
there?
hear you. Hopefully you can hear me.
I can hear you, and it's
Woo!
all systems are go. We got green lights, and we got Katie on the ones and twos. So I think we're ready to go for a show.
All right, let's do this.
Okay. Hey, oh man, my pen broke. So Vic, let me think. I want to talk about something besides the weather. What can we talk about? Oh, yes. We're doing a conference through the black, doing it again. Folks, we did a conference 2 years ago, and we're back. We are back with the Strangeland conference. Folks, I am telling you what, if you don't get to Ohio in March, then it must be because you live too far away. Because, hey, this is going to be a great time. The Strangeland Conference, 70 days. It's going to be here in 70 days.
Oh
so
gosh.
let's take a look at a couple of these things, okay? A couple of these people. Christopher Dean and Jason Spears from the Operation Red Pill Project podcast. Man, I can't wait to see these guys in action. They're working really hard on their presentation. I think it's called the Satanic Matrix Control Mechanism thingy, my Bob, something like that.
That sounds good.
They're taking it very seriously. They're very excited about being here. Vic, we got to figure out a way to get them on the show.
Oh yeah.
They're kind of hard to schedule because of their jobs. So we're gonna have to see if I'll talk to you about that later. We'll have to see if we can figure it out. Patrick Meechan wrote Nightmare in Holmes County. What is it with Holmes County? Katie sent me over a link to a movie, I guess, about Amish witches of Holmes County.
Oh, good grief.
Yeah, it's like the Amish capital of Ohio or something. But Patrick Meechan was talking about in his book about being cursed by the Amish. And yeah, there's a movie apparently, Amish witches. I don't know. Anyway, Coach Dave, by the way, I'm going to be on Coach Dave's show Monday.
Cool.
George Carneal. That dude right there, Mark Harrington, president of Created Equal. These guys are pro-life juggernauts, man. Yeah. I mean, they are not to be messed with, okay? They get moving and they cannot be stopped. That dude right there, Mark Harrington, just blows me away. So we have Landon from Save Them. And I actually just got to hang out with him a couple of days ago. Yeah, so I'm going to play a little ad that we shot here in a moment. So yeah, he is he's been involved in child rescue for quite a long time in America and South Africa. So his testimony is amazing, just the things that he's seen, and they're going to bring us up to date. Noel Kidd is going to be there. Is that who's next down there? A friend of mine from another life is who Noel Kidd is. Has
he always been on the list, or is he a new
No, yeah, he's been there. He's the guy from the band I used to listen to, and he's in the Testable.
Yes, right.
Kenny C.
Who's that?
Yeah, Kenny C. I don't know, but I'm anxious to meet him. And then
he looks crazy.
Vicki Joy, or as we sometimes call her, VJ.
Yeah.
So now there's a couple more that aren't down there yet. Dr. Dawn Morton, who is from my church, she's going to be talking about how to protect kids in church. Vic,
nice.
I really feel like the Lord laid this on my heart to ask her to do this.
Yeah.
This is going to be a practical thing that people can take away from this. So if you go to a church, if you're in a small group, if you are involved in a school or something, we have to implement policies to protect kids. Yeah. We have to screen the people that are working with our kids. I don't care how well you know them, okay? I don't care if you're afraid you're going to hurt their feelings. We have to, implement policies that are going to protect children, okay? And children are being abused, and they're vulnerable because we're not protecting them. So anyway, lots of good stuff. Let's go ahead and roll that clip. and it's real short, but it's just a little promo, guys. By the way, I put this up on Facebook. If anybody wants to share it, that's awesome. It's just one of the ways that you can help us promote the conference. So we'll just go ahead and roll this footage, roll this clip right now, Vic.
Hey, Through the Black listeners, Landon here from Save Them, and looking forward to speaking to you at the Strangeland conference in March. And we'll be talking about some of the stuff we've been doing over the past decade between Africa and the United States, helping children get out of child trafficking. So hope to share some learnings with you so we can make a difference in this world around us together. See you then.
Okay, yeah. Folks, if you get a chance to share that on Facebook, thanks. We have a lot of shares already. This is going to be an amazing conference. Just a great time of fellowship. On Thursday night, which is kind of the pre-conference time, some people show up early and they want to hang, they want to fellowship. You can come to the church on Thursday night, starting at 5 o'clock, and I'm going to be teaching a crash course in freedom encounters. So Sherry Clausen from the Shatter team, who's worked right alongside Russ, is going to be there with me. Vic, man, what a day. We had a great day. We had a great success today, and spending time with people over the phone, one on Zoom in freedom encounters.
Wow.
And I'll tell you what, I am so thankful for the space that we have at the church that we can do this.
Yeah.
You know, now we've done freedom encounters for years, but now we can say, okay, we're going to do this on Wednesday. And if people want to come and meet us there, they can set an appointment if they're close enough. Obviously, not everybody can. And they can do it on Zoom. We found out today there is a limitation on Zoom for 40 minutes. So that doesn't work unless we buy a subscription to it or whatever. Yeah. But, man, we talked to people from Canada. We talked to people from Washington and Texas and Colorado today, and we just got to encourage them and pray with them and just try to give them some tools that they could use just to kind of deal with their situation. And everybody, I tell you what, everybody was so cool, and it was just a good day. I just praise God for it. And we want to, folks, we don't charge for this. Okay. This is what we learned under the training of Russ Dizdar. This is free. This is the gospel. This is ministry. We don't charge for this. So if you want to set an appointment for a freedom encounter, you can do that by sending us an email at throughtheblack.connect@outlook.com. And right now we're doing them on Wednesdays, and what I understand is our schedule is filling up. So it's first come, first serve. We're trying to fit you in, and we're only doing it one day, but we're trying to get people trained, and we want to offer this more, and we want to open up the schedule. And folks, if you guys want to support us, we need the prayer and we need the finances. So we appreciate that. Of course, I do a video letting people know, hey, we're doing Freedom Encounters Day. Pray for us. Vic, you know this. There's backlash. There's blowback from doing this kind of ministry. The devil doesn't like it. So, and also, folks, some of you guys don't know it because we don't talk about it very much. There is a support spot on the website, and you can click that and you can support us. You can send us a couple dollars. That helps us be able to do what we do. So anyway, Vic, tell me something good.
Oh man, I don't know, dude. We're alive and well. We're breathing. Our house isn't on fire, right? We got to be praying for the people out west. It's just, man, look, Tom, I don't know who started it, when or why. I've heard all the conspiracy theories. It's getting crazy. But the fact of the matter is we know people out there that we love. I've got a really good friend in West Covina. I don't think that's affected yet, but I've been in touch with her, and they're kind of got the bug out bags packed in case they're evacuated. LA and Peggy are fine. They have not been evacuated. Their house is fine. They have been without cell service, Wi-Fi, and electricity for 10 days. And I think they just got it back today. I don't know if it's still on, but just that, Tom. I mean, it's one thing to sit there and wonder if you're going to get evacuated at any minute and if you're going to lose everything you have, but it's an inconvenience to be without electricity and power and Wi-Fi for 10 days. We're dependent upon that kind of stuff at this point in time. So keep praying for California in general, but as well as our friends, the Marzullis.
Yeah, guys, remember them and lots of other people. I have family out there that they're pretty much pretty far away from the fire this time. But I did get a call about 2 months ago, and my family that's out there told me they had to evacuate their house and go to a parking lot somewhere.
Wow.
So this was from a fire that was a couple months ago. But
wow.
Anyway, folks, man, California has been on fire for a long time, has it not?
I'll tell you,
So I just remember even 20 years ago, man, the fires. I mean, it's just been that way. It's the whole place is a tinderbox, and the devastation of those homes is crazy. Those neighborhoods. So So Vic, sad, man. I tell you what. I watched this interview with Mel Gibson on Joe Rogan. I don't know if
Rogan.
That.
I saw the clip, and then I saw a follow-up video today. I didn't watch them. I just saw them in my feed. I saw now something, and I don't know if it's true, but I guess Mel is under like 24-hour security now because of he's being threatened and whatever. But so what exactly was he disclosing on?
So wow. Well, one thing, when he was doing that interview, his house was burning down.
Oh, I saw a headline that said that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I mean, you know what? This would be kind of controversial among our people, and even among me and you. And Mel Gibson is a lifelong Catholic, but I'm telling you what, I feel like he went on that podcast to witness to Joe Rogan.
Wow, that's been happening a lot lately with guests.
Yeah, his body language was all over the place, and it was a really strange interview.
Rogan's was Tom?
Behavior. What's that?
Rogan's body language?
Well, no,
or
Mel's, and it could have been because he knew that his neighborhood was on fire. He got a call from his son before they went live, and his son said, "Dad, it's not looking good." So the neighborhood was on fire, but he did the interview anyway. I don't know how you do that. He was very kind of twitchy and nervous, but man, 2 times he brought up human sacrifices happening, and I know he was talking about abortion. And he kind of threw the bait out there, but Rogan didn't take the bait.
Okay.
But he laid it out there. He's like, I believe in this. And of course, Gibson made the movie The Passion of the Christ, and he's working on the resurrection of the Christ.
Yeah.
And I think that might hit the mark. I'm not sure, but it sounds really exciting. He's like, I don't know if I can pull this off because this is so big. And he's talking about, this is about another realm, and he's talking about spiritual warfare, I think.
Wow.
And he hinted at a lot of it. I really, I kind of recommend that interview. I want people to, I want to see what people think about it. My wife and I watched it, and it was, I don't know, it was kind of crazy because Mel Gibson was all over the place, but I didn't really,
well, he's gotten in trouble with Hollywood before.
Yeah.
So he's probably a little nervous when he discloses stuff like that. But he's still doing it, so good for him.
He is. Man, and he's made a movie. I don't know if you ever seen the movie. I think it's called Edge of Darkness. Did you see that one?
I don't think so.
That's where he plays a police officer whose daughter was murdered by some kind of a tech or pharmaceutical company. And she had found out that they were doing something illegal or killing people with their product or whatever. It was really good, man. So
wow.
But he's man. He talks about how, you know, God helped him in all these things. Yeah, you know, and he called out the Pope, by the way. He called out the Pope for bringing an idol to the Vatican.
I saw that part. That part.
So yeah. Anyway, it was kind of interesting. Obviously, I'm not vouching for these guys or endorsing what they believe. Rogan, or not Rogan, but Mel Gibson talked about some new agey stuff, but I don't think he was necessarily endorsing it. He was speaking of it ignorantly. And he even went to his priest and said, "Hey, is this guy demon possessed?" And the priest gave him bad counsel, I think.
Oh, okay.
It's the whole thing is interesting, and I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. I don't think he is there trying to mislead or deceive people.
Yeah. I think it's pretty obvious since the time of the Passion of the Christ and afterwards, he's definitely on a spiritual journey. That's for sure. Because, at the time of like Braveheart and even Passion, he was very devoutly Catholic. And then, he had that whole upheaval with Hollywood and the alleged things that he said that were anti-Semitic. And there was that whole hubbub, So, and then he divorced his wife of like a zillion years. They had been married for a super long time, and they had like 7 kids or 8 kids, or I don't know. And then the second marriage was very quick. It was over with. So he's been through just the kind of traumatic events that tend to draw people closer and closer to the truth over time. So we can pray for him.
Yeah. What he had to say was really interesting. And he gave a good testimony for his belief in God, and Joe Rogan kind of challenged him with some stuff, and Mel Gibson was like, "Hey, I can't explain all this stuff to you. I just know it's real.
Wow.
I just know this is the truth."
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
I wish more of us could just feel the freedom to say that to people instead of taking the bait and having to turn it into fights and stuff. There's certain things that I think are worth arguing over, think like salvation issues and stuff, but if we could just humble ourselves more times and just say, "Hey man, I don't know, but I know," right?
Yeah. So anyway, that was interesting. It was yeah. So I'll be interested to see the comments if anybody else saw that out there. So speaking of comments, I don't even have the comments up. What's going on, people? Anybody out there? Hey, folks. Appreciate the subscription, appreciate the thumbs up and the comments and all that. And guys, as I always say, when you share this show on your social media, that helps other people find it, and they find out about the conference and the freedom encounters and all that stuff. So Vic, good news. I was working on something, and there was another interview. I honestly don't watch Joe Rogan. I've probably watched more this week than I ever have, honestly.
Wow.
But Mark Zuckerberg, I guess he's a good guy now. So I guess he's totally trustworthy.
Oh yeah.
And he's on our team, and he's not gonna do any more censoring. So
fact checkers are fired.
Yeah. So he's a good guy now. We can totally trust him.
Absolutely, man.
And
hey,
you know what? Hey, he didn't switch teams just because Trump won. He was going to do that anyway.
No. He saw the light, apparently.
Yeah.
And no one has to worry. And we don't have to bleep out stupid words that aren't even offensive on YouTube anymore, apparently.
Yeah. What do you know?
This whole trend now, Tom, where we have to bleep out words that, come on. What's psychologically bizarre about that? Bleeping out words that aren't dirty or disgusting or whatever. They're just maybe of the violent nature.
Mm-hmm.
Not only do I not even know what they're talking about half the time, but because we have all been programmed over 50 plus years that every time there's a bleep, it's a swear word. Whenever they bleep out these words, my brain just fills in swear words because that's what, that's my Pavlovian response to that. So, man, I wish they would stop bleeping out words that we're all adults here. We can handle it. Okay.
Yeah. I just watched this ridiculous thing called Jubilee. Have you seen this?
No, I don't think so.
Jubilee is a YouTube channel, and they have like, what they'll do is they'll take one person that believes whatever,
okay,
a specific thing, and they'll get 25 people to debate them, and they take turns raising a flag.
I've seen that. Yes. I can barely sit through it, but yeah, I've seen a couple of them.
Oh, dude, I sat through this one.
Stresses me out.
Lila Rose, who is a pro-lifer, and she took on 25 pro-abortion advocates, and it was so frustrating. But man, she kicked every one of their butts. Good.
So yeah, I saw a couple ones that were more like politically oriented, and oh man, I know that there's a lot of really intelligent young people out there, but most of them don't get airtime on YouTube. Let's just say that.
True that. Hey, Vic, we're gonna get into the topic here in a moment, but I wanted to ask you something. Remember that show that you did on parasites? I didn't see the whole thing. You talking about parasites and all that. Was that true? Is that true?
Totally.
Okay.
I didn't make it up.
Yeah.
Why, you got some? You need some?
No, well, I don't know. If I do, they're real mad at me right now. Like my parasites are ticked off.
I could send you a dewormer. Oh my gosh.
Because I've been eating apricot seeds, which are real bitter.
Okay, yep.
And then I've been eating some hot salsa or some So they are not happy. They're packing their bags and running for the hills.
You know what I started doing? Okay, so apparently, I'm just testing this stuff out. I don't know. But apparently 5 days leading up to a full moon, the day of a full moon and 5 days after, those are like the 11-day period every month that you should really hit the bitters.
Really?
And so I keep hearing people saying like you should chew on like whole cloves. And I'm like, really? I'm pretty sure that'd be like eating a stick, wouldn't it? And so I tried it, and it's weird, like from a texture standpoint, because you're crunching down on it, and it is very bitter. I kind of don't mind the taste. I mean, to me, it's no different than like peppermint toothpaste and all that stuff.
My wife doesn't like it.
Yeah, I don't know. I've done it like maybe 5 days now, and each day it gets like a little bit easier. But
really?
Chewing on the clove, good grief, Don't those days like when you're a kid and you're a teenager and you're in your early 20s and you're eating like 2 Pop-Tarts and a Diet Coke for breakfast for like 20 years in a row, and you still skinny and you can do whatever you want. And here I am chewing on cloves. It's sad.
Yeah. You know how you're trying to get your kid to eat their vegetables?
Yeah.
So that's like what it's like trying to get my wife to eat apricot seeds. Like,
oh, really? You know what I do? I don't mind them anymore because I have them every day now for so long. I used to just take, because you can only eat like 2 of them at a time.
Yeah, you're only allowed to eat 3 in an hour.
Yeah, exactly. So I would put them on my biggest teeth in the back, and I would just chomp them, and I wouldn't get any of them in my saliva or my tongue. And then I'd just throw them back like they were like a supplement or something.
Really?
Yeah, because if they're not on the tongue, like you're not going to really. But yeah, I would be eating them like like a baby.
Maybe I can get her to try that.
But the thing too is, if you do it every single day, you eventually get to the point where it doesn't even taste strong to you anymore.
Yeah. So I'm getting used to it, but I usually like eat them with some cashews.
Oh, I see. Just throw them in there and trick your system.
Yeah.
Like there's 2 hidden apricot seeds in your handful of cashews.
Right. Well, the thing about apricot seeds is you are not supposed to eat more than 10 a day or more than 3 an hour.
Yes.
So
I didn't even think, I thought you weren't supposed to eat more than 5 a day. Really? You can eat 10?
Well, I don't know. I'm just going by the bag I got.
Oh, okay. Well, either I'm going to get really sick or you're going to die.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Right? Wait around and we'll see who's here for the show next week.
Yeah. One of us will see you in March.
So yeah. Anyway, no, I think you should I want to do a show about that. Maybe we can do that in a couple weeks here if we have time. We're going to be trying to get some of these guests from the show on. We got a special guest next week.
Yes.
That we're going to be doing an interview with. So
yes.
One of the speakers at the conference, I don't know if we should let the cat out of the bag yet or not, but
I'll give you a hint. This speaker was bullying me online today.
Oh. I think I know who it is.
Can I just tell you? I told him, I'm like, oh, dude, I've had a little bit of insomnia. Like, you pray for me. And he writes back and he says, hey, you can do what I do every time I can't sleep. Pick up one of your books and start reading it.
Oh, that's a good one, dude. That
was
is
funny.
a good one.
I had to hand it to him.
Good stuff. Oh, man. So, yeah, lots of stuff going on. Zuckerberg, parasites, wildfires. It's just another day. You know, if I wonder if we would have done a show like this in the 90s, would we have had something to talk about? I mean, I'm assuming stuff was happening.
I don't know.
But doesn't it seem like more stuff is happening now?
Yeah, kind of. But I mean, even in the 80s, you know, there was all the Cold Wars. Remember how afraid we were of Gorbachev?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were all afraid that the Russians were going to get us. They keep using that trope every decade.
Dude, they're still trying to pull that out.
I know. And when have the Russians ever invaded America? Ever? I'm beginning to think that they're making this up.
Yeah. I think they don't want us to trust the Russians.
Yeah. It's like the couple that always like screams and threatens divorce, but you know they're never going to do it. It's just like the D word. It's the same thing. Oh, the Russians are going to get us. No, they're not. We're friends. Let's just admit it.
Yeah. So, okay. I wasn't planning on going here, but what I've been hearing this for years that there's a Bible prophecy in it. People think that the country from the north is Russia. And then I'm hearing people say they don't think that's what it is. And there's no, you know what? I know so many smart people and they can't agree on any of this stuff.
I know. This is kind of leading into our topic.
It is a little bit. Yeah. And it's kind of inspired by a person that we met a couple years ago at a conference.
I think you got the most quality time with them.
Oh, dude. Yeah. Is that what you want to call it?
Tom's too nice. He can't walk away. He can't just be like, I'm done. I'm walking away.
Yeah.
And we did nothing to help. That was
no, dude. No.
We just kept walking by and
yeah, that was an ultimate betrayal.
It was. Oh my gosh.
So
yeah.
I don't remember the guy's name. I think I have his papers around here somewhere because and you know what? God bless the guy. But he made a claim that everything was coming to an end that summer. Now, when were we there? Was that 3 years ago?
I don't think it was that long ago.
I think it was 3 years ago because it was a year before.
They did the like special video presentation for Russ because it was the first conference since he had passed away. So maybe it was the year probably after.
Yeah, well, 3 years ago was Out of the Darkness conference, or 2 years ago. So I think it might have been 3, but I'm not sure. Anyway.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So Russ has been gone for 3. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. All right. I think, wait, Katie might know. 3 years. No way. Okay, guys.
Okay, yeah.
Wow.
There we go. So
Jim's there.
Yeah, hey, and Jim was there. So this guy had a table and he had all these printouts and he said, hey, it's going down this summer. And well, we I guarantee that guy knows more about the Bible than I do, but none of us were real concerned that everything was going to end, the way that he was saying that it was going to end. And he had some very specifics he was calling out. And I don't know, that concerns me, Vic, because it gives us a black eye,
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, what are your thoughts?
Well, I don't know. Well, I mean, I guess I do. I mean, I guess people want to know the day. But what's so funny is it seems like so many Christians for so many decades want to pin this day down. But every time they pin the day down, I mean, I would think I would like to know the date so that I can prepare myself. But even when people think they know the date, they're not really preparing for it. So what is even beneficial about knowing the date? Why are we so hung up on that? No one knows the day or the hour. Um, but I do believe that we can know the seasons.
Yeah.
I know that, at some point it's going to probably become really obvious to us, even though every single decade thinks they're the one because they look to politics alone as the litmus test. But it if knowing the day and the hour isn't going to lead to sobriety of heart and humility and confession of sin and a spiritual preparation, then who cares what the day is? If it's not going to lead you to do anything
Man, there's
except
been,
for
yeah, so much crying wolf, right? I
Mhm.
mean, one of the most obvious ones is 88 reasons why he's coming back in 88. I don't know if you remember that.
I remember 88 and I remember 89. I had a pastor in Minnesota that did a 18-week long series, Countdown to the Rapture. And this was early 90s. So 98 was still a way off. But it was March something 1998 that he predicted. And that's, long
Yeah.
gone.
You know what I think? And this is going to sound silly, but I think things are going to get real bad, and then it's going to be like 50 years after that. So,
Well, and here's the thing that always confuses me too. And guys, I'm not an eschatological expert. You know what I mean, but I'm pretty sure from all the little timelines I've seen in my life that what precedes the end times is this golden age where everyone's saying peace, peace, safety, safety, and then destruction comes upon them. And so
mhm.
what has always sort of perplexed me is that whenever things get really, really bad, people say, okay, the end is near. Well, what about that whole period of prosperity and wonderfulness that comes first? Like, wouldn't a time of great prosperity be the tip off to us that, oh, the end times could be coming because things have never been
Yeah.
this great?
No. I mean, that's a good point. That's a good point. I like what Pastor Jim said here. The Bible is very clear that no one knows the date or time. I think it's a great indicator of who a false prophet is.
Yeah.
And by the way, most of the people that we hang out with, they talk about it. We believe we're in that season. I mean, we're seeing these things happen, but I don't know how long it takes these things to play out, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
I remember, man, Russ and I went everywhere together, and I saw him at every conference, and I did, several conferences where he spoke. And one of the things he would ask several different things. He would ask, "Hey, does everybody know their armor? Does everybody know their authority?"
Their
And a
authority.
lot of people didn't. Most people didn't, and that he would train them that. He would teach them that. And then he would ask this question almost every conference: How many people believe the Lord's coming back in 10 years?
Yeah.
Everybody,
Yeah.
raise their hand. How many believe 5 years? Okay. Well, nothing against Russ. And I remember when I put on a conference in 2009, I didn't think we're going to make it to the conference
Yeah.
because Obama got elected and everything was, happening so quickly. And I thought, we're not going to make it. We're not going to make it. Well, here we are. It's 2025. 25 years, a quarter. Vic, whoa.
I know, man.
Whoa. I remember 1999. Okay. Because I waited for that for a long time because of Prince, right? And then year 2000, we're 25 years
I know. Isn't that
into
crazy?
this century. So I absolutely believe there's an end. But I can't give a date, and I mean, I think there's strategic reasons why, you know, God doesn't give a date. So, but anyway, we see things like this guy in Texas that we saw, who was given a definitive date, right? And all of our friends don't. Russ never said it's going to be a date, you know, a definitive date. Now we had some interesting talks in private, you know, and I said, well, Russ, what about this? What about this? You know, and then we were kind of back and forth, and we had some really great discussions, and but so a few other things that I want to mention that people say, you know, and they say it very definitively, right? This idea that so and so was a blood sacrifice, so this person could move up in their career. Okay.
Yeah.
Have you heard this before?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Millions
and people say it just like it's common knowledge.
Yeah.
That this is true.
Yeah.
So I'll give you an example. I have a cousin, okay, who was semi-famous. He was in some movies with Johnny Knoxville and Bam Margera, and he his name was Ryan Dunn. As far as I know, I never met him, okay, but his dad and my dad were cousins, okay, and we were second cousins. And you can look at Ryan Dunn and you can tell, I mean, we look similar, right? And it's all about the Dunn nose, everybody says, okay? But anyway, I met his dad and his grandfather. His grandparents lived real close to me. And but he got in an accident, alcohol-related accident, and killed himself, you know?
Yeah.
And people said that was a blood sacrifice for Bam Margera, so Bam Margera could move up in his career. And I'm like, that's not what happened. He was at a bar, he was drinking beer, and he got into his brand new sports car. The sports car, by the way, and I know this from talking to family, his dad said, son, don't kill yourself in that car.
Oh.
Yeah. And he got in that car. He was loaded, drunk, shouldn't have got in it, and he wrecked the car and he died, you know. So very, very sad. I wish I could have got to him. I wish I could have somehow ministered to him, you know. It's heartbreaking. And but he was not a satanic sacrifice for Bam Margera. Okay. So that's something that I know the inside scoop from. I know the personal story, you know. How many more? I don't know all the personal stories, but people are saying definitively that these things are true. I'm sure maybe some of them are true. I don't know. I can't prove it, but I think people are being irresponsible and saying that every one of these, you know, deaths that happen.
Yeah. So I like the use of the word irresponsible there, because I do know a couple people where, you know, are there blood sacrifices for people's fame out there? Is it done? Probably. Every single time someone who's marginally a celebrity or is a celebrity dies, is it a sacrifice? Probably not every time. Now, another area of conspiracy where I've seen this is there's conspiracies out there that some A-list female celebrities are transgender. And I know people now who have taken it so far that they think every single A-list woman who's famous, that was the prerequisite. And so every single one of them is, because they wouldn't even get a contract if they didn't agree to that. And so I do think that that's where it's hard to get to the truth. Like when you look at SRA survivors who don't get believed because of satanic panic. Anytime you take something that may be true or may have a statistical, you know, possibility, when you insist that it's 100%, you lose all credibility. And then the people that really are stuck in those dangerous situations who might need rescue or help or prayer, they can't get help because it's already been branded as that whole entire thing is a lie. And so we should be responsible with this kind of stuff because there might actually be people out there that are dealing with some of this bizarre stuff. But it doesn't mean that every single person in Hollywood is in on it.
Yeah. Lies move so fast. And what's the saying? A lie can make it all the way around the world before the truth even gets its pants on.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
some of these accusations, some of these things have been said about Russ.
Yes.
And there was a certain person, I can't even remember their name, from Australia that had a SRA testimony. And Russ cast doubt on part of the testimony. And he, that's not something Russ does. And he doesn't do it lightly. He didn't do it lightly. So that person, because Russ didn't believe everything that they were saying, said, well, you must be in on it. You must be part of a satanic cult secretly, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's not true. I knew him very closely, and that was not happening. I saw him when nobody else saw him.
Yeah.
He was the real deal. So a lot of people don't know this, but Russ was involved in a lawsuit. He didn't file the lawsuit, but somebody else did on his behalf, of somebody that accused him of that, a YouTuber, and Russ won the lawsuit.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, just in the last couple years of his life.
Wow.
This happened.
Yeah, you know what I've seen? Well, I've seen it firsthand with the stuff I put out about sleep paralysis, but I remember reading an article years ago. Russ was still alive. And it was a girl, and it was like a blog kind of a thing, because it wasn't like an article. And she was saying that Russ was a controlled opposition and he was in the occult and all this stuff. And her sole reason, when you got all the way down to the bottom of like the evidence, it was that what he's talking about is fear mongering, and therefore it can't be of God, because apparently there's nothing in the Bible that's terrifying, but and I just thought, we're commanded in scripture 365 times not to fear. And we're specifically told that fear of man is bad. So if you hear something and you have a fear response, that's between you and God. You need to get to the bottom of why you are afraid, because other people are going to hear what Russ talks about, and they're going to have their eyes open, and that's going to spur them into a ministry or into intercessory prayer. Other people are going to hear it who've gone through it and say, finally, someone understands. Like, just because you hear something that scares you, just because the reality of something is terrifying, doesn't mean it's not true, or that God doesn't want it exposed. I mean, we're supposed to expose the deeds of the devil. You think the deeds of the devil aren't scary? So to go out there and just slander someone's ministry with nothing to go on except your own emotional reaction when you hear his presentation, man, that's just like the utmost of lack of discernment, I guess.
No, agree. So Vic, I'm glad you said that about the clones, or about the gender. That's something that's like trending. Some of these things get trendy.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like why I kind of mentioned the parasite thing. Now, I totally understand and buy the parasite thing, but that's an example of something that would be trendy. You know what I'm saying? Because it takes off, and I believe that it's true, and I and we've seen the evidence of this. But there are other things out there that I'm trying to think of an example that they kind of become trendy. And I'm not saying that there's no benefit or truth to them. Like a few months ago, we saw all this grounding stuff. Do you remember that?
I do.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I don't know much about it. Obviously, everything that talked about it was trying to sell me a product.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Doesn't mean it wasn't legit. Okay.
Yeah.
I take supplements, I do things, and I think it makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
But some of these people that try to do these things, they have us at a disadvantage, because we don't know all this stuff, and we're
Yeah.
not scientists, and we can't, it's just, you know, um, their word may be against our ignorance.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I tell you what, my wife and I are purging our pantry, and we have been for quite a while. It's not quite purged yet, but it's getting closer and closer. And
Yep.
all the new food that we're buying, the number one thing that we're trying to do, we're just kind of trying to baby step it, is no seed oils. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
And that's good. That's good advice. That's a good thing, to
Yep.
do. And man, I'm excited about it. I'm thankful. I'm trying to take care of my health. I'm trying to think 10 years down the road, and
Yeah.
removing this stuff. This is all real stuff. But anyway, there's just a lot of things out there that that are spread through fear.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
The gender thing is something that I've seen trending, and I can't, I don't know all of these things. I keep going back to the Alex Jones thing, and Alex Jones is Bill Hicks, which is completely ridiculous because
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
look
Yeah.
nothing alike. They
Yeah. There's a lot of
and
those.
yeah, but the age gap is so big. You know
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
saying? And
I heard one, this was years ago, that Jimmy Carter was JFK, and they had the pictures. But even that, you don't know what they're photoshopping and everything,
well,
But yeah, there's so much. How do we know? Like, I mean, I don't believe that one. That one seemed
yeah.
pretty far-fetched to me, but
I saw tonight that Amy Winehouse is actually Lady Gaga.
oh, I've heard that one as well. Yep.
So that one's new to me.
Yeah.
But you know what? Whatever. I don't have time to
I
argue with
know.
all this stuff. If somebody wants to believe it, that's fine. But what about the gospel? And
Yeah.
you know what? When people take this too far, it comes back to things like, well, the Mandela effect changed the Bible.
I know. I know. Yes,
So
Jim. Elvis is still alive.
yeah.
I saw him. I was actually in Memphis once with my family, and we got a flat tire, and the guy driving the tow truck looked so much like Elvis. It was hilarious. So
Yeah.
I did see him in the late 80s.
Wow.
Hey, I want to answer, James had a question here, where he can get good, reliable apricot seeds. I order mine online, James, and I make sure they're from out of the country. I think mine are from Turkey, but I wouldn't order anything that was made in America, grown in America.
I bought mine from a health food store, and it says on the bag, it says grown in California, but it has all of these other things, non-GMO, all
Okay.
that stuff.
Okay.
So, but anyway, they've been vacuum sealed. I bought them like 2 years ago and never opened them, and I just opened them last week.
Oh,
They've
wow.
been like vacuum packed,
Yeah. Oh,
sitting
wow.
on my shelf for a while, and I was like, okay, I think I need to get these out and just teach these parasites a lesson.
That's
So,
right. Kick their butts.
yeah. But
Yeah.
Dick, I mean, what we're trying to say here, I guess, is be careful what you believe. We need godly Holy Spirit discernment. Discernment is a gift of
Yeah.
the Spirit.
Yeah.
And this is nothing new really to this show, right? We've been talking about this, and we've been talking about discernment ministries, and people that are good question.
Yeah.
And
Good. I agree with you, Lynette. Health Ranger is great. We get a lot of stuff from him.
yes. And Tiny asked, can I consume apricot seeds from my own tree? I don't see why not. Yeah.
Yeah. Just make sure they're inside of the pit. If you've never, when you eat an apricot and there's that big heavy pit, they're hard to crack. The actual seeds that we're eating are inside of that pit.
Oh, okay.
Most people know that, but in
Now you
case
tell me.
In case you don't know, now you're in trouble.
Man,
Oh,
no wonder it's so hard to eat 3 of them. So,
oh no! Oh no! Oh no!
no, they look like what? Like little almonds, right?
Yeah, they're just tiny, like little things.
Yeah.
Smaller
So,
than peanuts usually.
so okay. Here's another thing I want to mention: dreams. People have dreams. Okay,
Oh yeah.
prophetic dreams,
Mm-hmm.
and they they go a long way in interpreting these dreams and saying, sorry, reading the chat here.
Yeah, yeah.
And really basically saying, like, thus saith the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
I had this dream, or I'm making this prophecy, or God gave me this, and it's not lining up. You know what I mean, Vic?
Yeah, I do know what you mean. So I have a couple litmus tests for that. You know, obviously I get a lot of people writing to me, telling me about their dreams. And with the prophetic ones, if we look at the prophetic dreams in scripture, we look at the Daniels, right? And stuff like that. Now, don't get this confused with visions and angelic visitations. I'm talking about the dreams. A lot of times the prophetic dreams, the Pharaoh that Joseph dealt with and Nebuchadnezzar, the dreams were so perplexing, they couldn't figure out what it meant. An entire court of magi's trained in this couldn't figure it out. It took Holy Spirit intervention to get an interpretation. And in some cases, the interpretations didn't come immediately. They came a week later, or they came as soon as they tracked Daniel down, or they tracked Joseph down. And some of the dreams haven't, been fulfilled yet. They're for the end times. And so it's always strange to me when people have these prophetic dreams that they're not even awake 5 minutes and they already know what it means. Like, that's just always been perplexing to me. And another thing that I think differentiates a lot of the prophetic dreams I hear about and the ones that are in the Bible is a lot of times the prophetic dreams that are given to people in the Bible they affected an entire kingdom or an entire nation or an entire generation. And they tied into the redemptive story somehow, or judgment, or covenant living, or whatnot. And so I do find that a lot of people that have these prophetic dreams, it's always, this means that my church is going to exponentially grow by 1,000 members this year. This means that our church is going to come up with $1 million for the building fund. This means I'm going to be a famous Christian recording artist. Like, it's always seems like a lot of times these dreams have nothing to do with anyone else beyond ourselves, and they're very beneficial to us. And the prophecies in scripture, a lot of times they were kind of scary. They were, Daniel was sick, physically ill after he had his, dreams and things. And so I don't know. I just think if you actually research the ancient Roman practice of augury, it's sort of frightening how modern prayer and dream interpretation has a lot more in common with augury than it maybe does the biblical examples in some cases.
No, I think that's a good point. And Vic, I'm sure you've had a dream where you're like, okay, Lord, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
God revealed something to you in that dream, and it's pretty easy to interpret it. And it usually has to do with my own family, about something. I've had warnings, and I've woken up and prayed, and it was like, what's going on with this person? This is not, normal. And then, you know what? I've had people say, hey, I had a dream about you. I'm praying for you. And everything's fine with me.
Yeah.
But they just must have had a dream about me. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm glad you prayed for me. I'm glad you had a dream about me. I need the prayer,
Yeah.
So,
And I
Yeah,
do
go
think,
ahead.
and I would actually, well, I'm the English major, so I split hairs when it comes to words. And I wouldn't necessarily call those prophetic dreams. But I definitely think that we're given warnings in our dreams. And I've had dreams where I have woke up praying for someone, and I've had this happen twice. I woke up at some weird hour of the night praying for someone's salvation, and then I found out in the morning that they passed away. And I didn't know that. I had no way of knowing that, and so it wasn't so much a prophecy so much as God was saying, hey, I love this person. Let's give them one more shot. And I might have been one of 400 people that the Holy Spirit woke up and had prayed for that person,
Mhm.
So I do think that we definitely can have communication sent to us from the Lord in our dreams. But I'm just going with like the biblical definition of like a prophetic word, like that you would get online and tell the church,
Yeah.
God is saying this to our nation right now, or whatnot. And I just think that there's a lot of liberty in that field of research that probably does more harm than good.
I tell you what, that makes me nervous. And I I get dreams and I can't explain them. And I get dreams that, they kind of shake you a little bit. You're like, whoa, what was that? There are dreams that I've had long time ago that I still remember
Yep.
because they kind of shook me up a little bit.
Yep.
We can also get attacks. Obviously, you wrote the book on that. And
Mhm.
we're vulnerable when we're sleeping, we're unconscious, and we
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
are there kind of defenseless, unless we're praying over, and that's something I teach in my house
Yeah.
to pray before you go to sleep.
Yes.
So
Yep. Absolutely.
what if the enemy didn't come in an attack in a scary dream, but in something that is what people would think is prophetic? And we see some of these people say these things like, oh, what's the guy? Kenneth Copeland. He's going to live to 120 years old. Have you seen this?
No. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he made a contract with God, and he said God told him he's going to live to be 120 years old.
I wonder who he contracted with. That's scary.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
I,
no kidding.
I don't know.
So
The I'd be real leery if you're signing contracts, especially in a dream.
yeah, yeah. But folks, what about the good old fashioned gospel? You know, I mean, we talk about things on this show. We're known for that. Our motto or our one of our slogans used to be "Let's get weird." Okay, and it's fun to talk about these things. We believe the Bible has the answer to these things, but you know what? I'm really happy about the fact that we have not been those people that run with some of this stuff. You know what? There's thousands of hours of me, and you can probably find plenty of times where I've said something real stupid. Okay. No doubt about it. And, but I tell you what, we would never intentionally mislead anybody, and we would be very careful. We always say, do your own research, even when we believe a specific thing, like, for example, about the vaccines. Whoops,
Yeah.
did I say that out loud?
Uh-oh.
Are we allowed to say that? Yeah, I don't
Probably
know.
not.
But
Probably not.
about those things, we would say do your own research, because it's important that you are convinced on your own, not by my words, but by vetting out the information.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I know. And Tom, sometimes I get discouraged, and I do mean sometimes, like it's not a pervasive thought, but there are so many things, Tom, that you and I could do if we wanted to like blow this channel up and get hundreds of thousands of viewers and our silver play button and everything. But we're not willing to do it because we're not trying to be sensational. We're trying to get truth out there. We're trying to help people who have been oppressed. And the fact of the matter is it's just not popular. And it's one of those things where you put your hand to the plow and you just have to know, like, God called me. My great commission is to preach the gospel. My reward is hopefully going to be a crown, not a silver play button. And that's not derogatory to anyone who's gotten a silver play button, guys, because there's a lot of godly people out there who have. But what I'm saying, Tom, is we would be making a lot of different choices and show topics and guests and things like that if that was really what we were chasing after. And the fact of the matter is, when you want to have shows about spiritual warfare and fasting and the kind of stuff that we do on this channel and we do on my channel, you're not going to get all the views. And sometimes it's tough when you see people getting 6 million views because their cat jumped up in the air because you scared it. Like that that can be really disheartening when it gets you in the wrong mood. Like if I filled my social media with a bunch of banal stupidity.
I wish we knew somebody had cats.
Yeah, right. We could make bank with an Instagram account just of cameras, certain someone's cats.
Yeah.
That appears to be the way to get views. And so, that's the thing. You have to just make your choice, make your calling. And I don't know if you get this, Tom, but I get a lot of people, mostly young people, that are really trying to help me, do this and do this and you do this. And the fact is, I was called to write. I was called to talk about things that I know. I preach the gospel. And I think sometimes we might get confused with our identity and our calling. God doesn't call every single person to be a social media influencer. And that's a very specific thing, right? And what's unfortunate about that, because that's what's being touted as kind of the number one thing to do, is then you've got preachers and writers and other people who aren't doing that and aren't getting anywhere near the success by way of followers or finances. And then they're being ripped to shreds by Satan, who's saying, look, you're a failure, because you're comparing yourself to someone who's doing something completely different than you're doing. And so I just really think all of us, because most of us are online all day, we just got to put our hand to the plow. Whatever your calling was, if your calling is to be a mom, that's one of the greatest callings on planet Earth. And that's your calling. And if your social media account only has 500 people, like, that's your calling. Like, we have to keep our hand to the plow. And I'm probably getting off topic here, Tom, but it's just one of those things where it's kind of something that's been on my mind the last couple of days, where I think that the enemy can come in and tempt us away from our calling. And then we're striving to kind of compete with other people who were called to do those things. And we really just have to constantly be very aware of the calling that God has for us and be proud of it and stick with it and say, this is my calling. This is my niche. This is what I'm going to do. And if it's not what the masses are doing, it's okay.
Yeah. Vic, I agree with you. I was watching this story a couple days ago. I think I sent it in the Discord for us to check out, because I want to comment on this sometime. I want to react to this. It's a story about these two YouTubers, or this woman that was a YouTuber out in Utah. She was Mormon. And then she had, I don't know how many followers, could have been millions, could have been tens of thousands. But wow. She was abusing her kids. Oh. She was abusing her kids. She ended up going to prison. And the whole thing was so psycho. And I'm like, man, my heart is to bear fruit. My heart is to see people set free.
Yeah.
And that, Vic, I know you personally, and I know that's what you want too. We've had these private conversations when nobody else is listening, and we really want to help people. We really want to share the gospel because we think it's life-changing.
Yeah.
And it's not very commercial. I put on, I try to make creative thumbnails because I want people to hear the gospel. That's what we talk about on this show. It all comes back around to that.
Yeah.
And, people be like, I said, what about the old-fashioned gospel? I mean, that's what it's all about. And I think we make it pretty clear on this channel. That's what it's about. And we want to be a place where you can hear about scary things or weird things in a safe place, and we've done a good job on that. This show has had many lives, right? And this last couple of years has been a wild ride for you and I. By the way, I don't know where you're at. I see some people I haven't seen in a long time in the chat. Really cool. So God bless you guys. We have a very extensive archive, and I'm really impressed by the shows you and I were doing a couple years ago, Vic, where we were very systematically teaching people about just what are these occult things, what do they mean, what are because people see them out in the wild and they're like, what does it mean when a person says this or does this? So I'm going down a rabbit hole now too, but I just want to share a heart, and I'll tell you what, it's the heart of a lot of people that we hang out with. That's what they really, really care about. And I couldn't sleep at night if I was trying to do something kind of commercial. I'm just, for one thing, I'm just too punk rock in a way. And I'm willing to be unpunk rock for the gospel. You know what I'm saying? And what I mean by punk rock, I mean, I don't know how to explain what I mean, but it just anti-establishment, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So I'm a Christian before I'm anything else. So which is anti-establishment.
Exactly.
So anyway, with all that being said, I will say this. We are working on, and when I say we, I am working on several days a week on some videos that we can share that are going to be kind of bite-sized teachings about things. And we're going to be recording these and putting these out on the channel. And the hope is that we can take a subject like what is a stronghold and explain that in 2 minutes. What is a spiritual stronghold? What is a demonic stronghold? Okay. What is prayer mapping? We want to produce content that's going to bear fruit, that's going to equip the saints, preach the gospel, expose the darkness. Amen. So that's what we're about. And I didn't really even mean to get into turn it around and talk about us, but that's our heart, right? We really mean that. And we really want to do those things.
Yeah. Amen. Absolutely.
So, dude, yeah.
The chat is running amok.
Some people you just.
Some people's kids.
Yeah.
Named Jim Woodcock.
Dude, what are you gonna do? Vic, final word on false prophets.
Oh man. 1 John 4:1, test every spirit to know whether it's of God, every in all caps and bolded and underlined.
Yeah. So guys, we're having a special guest next week. We hope that you will tune in and hang out with us. It's going to be a great time. Don't forget about the Strangeland conference. You can go to throughtheblack.com, get registered for that, show up. I think we're getting closer to nailing down what the hotel is. I don't know if that's on the website yet, but it's going to be a great time in Mansfield. And we want you to leave this conference different. We want you to leave equipped and encouraged and inspired. And this is going to be a good thing. So, guys, thank you for hanging out with us and everything you do. And we shall see you next time. Nighty-night. Hey, folks, I just met the witches and Satanists, and they're going to allow me to do an interview with them. So let's see what happens.